Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Now the Chiefs will bring it on an end around to Xavier Worthy at the 20, 15 of the Ravens, 10, 5, touchdown, Kansas City.
Yeah, first thought was they're going for 2. Like, they're not going to want this game to go to overtime, so immediately just started getting prepared for what they were going to do, their 2-point plays that we studied in the game plan, and being prepared for that. And then once you start seeing the review and saw that toe touch the line, we started saying he was out of bounds.
Difficult catch to get your feet in bounds there. I don't think Isaiah Likely is going to get heat. I think it's going to be on Lamar Jackson. Not because they didn't win the game, but they were in a position to win the game, and he could not hit the wide open receiver.
The entire offseason, whenever I was asked about what would Derrick Henry bring to this team, I said, I don't think he's the missing piece because this team's never had a problem running the football. But now they almost seem like two different teams when Derrick Henry's in the game and when Justice Hill is in the game. Lamar Jackson, to me, is more dynamic when Justice Hill is in the game.
Us and McPherson, two teams that kind of mirror each other a little bit. Offensively, we do a lot of the same things, and that can be good and bad. But I think for our defense, if you look at it, they've at least seen our offense run a lot of the same stuff.
I like to tell the kids it's a game about heart and will and determination. So I like our group. We had to switch some places around offensively, so I think we're going to be a little bit slow starting.
Yeah, this is a class we've always known has some potential. The good thing about this class is that there's no egos. They don't have anyone who's get me the ball or do this or that. They just want to win, and that's fun as a coach.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. The talk of the town. It is the Friday, High School Football Friday show, I guess. Steve Webster with you, Mike Corson in studio, and Mike Hesher with us today. Also joining the program today, Bill Hickey is our studio engineer that is streaming today. We don't have the video up, but you've got the audio right here, so enjoy the program here on a Friday. It's Friday. That means Connor Nickel will be joining us, Sunflower Sports Solutions. Yeah, we'll talk plenty of football on the program today. Also, we'll put in some volleyball in there for you from Connor Nickel and Mike Corson going on the prowl.
You've done that before, but it was not game day. I think on Fridays you shouldn't do that.
Oh, I shouldn't do that on game day?
Because you don't know what's going to happen tonight. Maybe you'll have a
You want me
big
to say
call.
prowl?
Yes, on Fridays. You
Okay.
can be a little kitten on Fridays.
Okay.
What's your signature Great Bend touchdown call?
It has to happen before I have a signature one. I don't plan things out. It's just whatever comes out of my mouth, which is a scary thought.
Wouldn't it be great since he just heard Mitch Holtis? He just busts it out.
That won't happen. I can guarantee. Touchdown, Great Bend!
Yeah. That was a mix of the KU guy and Mitch Holtis.
Who's the guy in Green Acres we were just talking about? Hank Kimball.
Hank Kimball.
Yeah.
That's who I remind him of, is Hank Kimball, if you are familiar with that. Corson's going, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
From Green Acres.
Yeah.
Place to be, but I don't know the show.
Well, okay, golly. We didn't get him the full DVD
There
set
you go.
of Green Acres with the and the bonus pack of Petticoat Junction.
Petticoat Junction. You would like Petticoat Junction.
Yes.
I got Netflix, Hulu. I don't need Peacock. I don't need these.
Let's get to our sounds of the past 24 hours. The call on B1043, The Point. Xavier Worthy scoring his first NFL touchdown to tie the game at 7 in the first quarter. He would add his first receiving TD later in the game on a broken coverage by the Ravens. And the Chiefs come out on top, 27-20. Oh, yeah, trailing by 7, the closing seconds of the fourth quarter. Baltimore had their chance to score a TD, pulled it within 1. In fact, the Ravens thought they'd scored a touchdown in the game's final play with Lamar Jackson's pass to Isaiah Likely. But after the referee review was determined that Likely's toe was on the end line, thus ending the game. While the review was going on, Chiefs defensive back Justin Reed pretty sure the Ravens would be going for the win. As John Harbaugh, he was going for 2. He already signaled it. One big toe too long.
Well, you know what they say. It's a game of inches. And boy, last night was it. It was a game of inches.
They said he should have wore white shoes.
That's what I like.
Yeah. Instead, you wouldn't be able to see the contrast on there. The Chiefs survive. Jonathan Zaslow, ESPN. The play that everyone's going to talk about is not the final one. It's about when Lamar Jackson had a wide open receiver and airmailed it out the back of the end zone. And ESPN's Ryan Clark, I thought this is what I was thinking last night. So they get Derrick Henry, and I was concerned. I mean, but sometimes you get too many toys and you don't know how to use them, because Derrick Henry needs to be a guy that's getting carries. And when the Ravens decided to run him, he was effective, but I don't think they knew how to use him. And as Ryan Clark said, they're having an identity crisis right now. Who do they have in the game? Is it they've always been able to run the football well? And the other thing the Ravens are going to find out, you're going to run Lamar Jackson that much, good luck, because I don't know how much of the season that he's going to be able to participate in. He took a lot of shots last night. And finally, my thought on the Chiefs, every game they play comes down to the way it did last night. Chiefs either have to get a first down. If they don't, then the defense is able to bend but not break. And it's just another close win for the Kansas City Chiefs. I wasn't that confident in them getting a win last night. But I liked a lot of the things I saw. Even though they gave up 480-some yards of total offense, 185 yards rushing, well, Lamar Jackson had a bunch of that. Broken plays, things like he can cause some problems. He just can't fit that ball in a window, or you put some pressure on him. And the Chiefs go on. They're 1-0. They get the Bengals next week.
That ought to be fun. Right into the Bengals.
My takeaway is same with high school football in week 1. Well, okay, Pratt's usually good. McPherson's usually good. So maybe they gave up 400 and some yards because Baltimore's really good.
Yeah.
We won't know until about week 3, 4 of the season how good the teams are, and then you'll start figuring out how good these head-to-head close games are. So, yeah, you look at it and say, man, they could have lost on the last play of the game. But those could be the 2 best teams in the league. We just don't know yet.
No, I agree completely. But what do you think about Ryan Clark's comment? That's what I was thinking. Is, okay, if you've got Derrick Henry, how are they going to use him? Because
he's one person that has to touch the ball, I'm guessing, 15, 20 times a game to be effective.
But when he's out of the pistol, I don't think that works as good for him.
Probably not, no.
I think you figure it out. He's going to be a guy who can chew up minutes, I would think, at 3-4 yards a pop if you're in the lead. But against Kansas City, probably the best team in the league, can you afford to play the possession game? I don't know.
That's what I mean.
But I think they will beat some teams and get ahead early.
Oh, I
then
think
you might
so
see
too.
A whole lot of more.
Oh, yeah, if they get ahead, it's going to be a lot of Derrick Henry.
And Patrick Mahomes does what he needs to do.
The other
he rushed for 3 yards last night. But he ran around and probably, before he threw the ball, probably ran for 132 yards.
Reminiscent of the Super Bowl a few years ago?
No, he just finds space and then he throws it downfield.
One of the other takeaways, we saw the new rule implementation. So what the guy on the end, on the offensive end, has to be lined up at a certain arbitrary spot with the center.
Yeah.
What they call it, 3 straight times. But he can't check down. So he's just going to be guessing, am I on or am I off? And they kept calling him off. Well, we don't need more delays in the NFL. Those games are already 3.5 hours.
Well, what do you mean? Did they go to replay on that?
It seemed like an arbitrary call by the officials. You're lined up too far back. Here's a flag.
Well,
and they warned him the first time?
Well, okay. I mean, if that's going to be the way to do it, that's how wide receivers know they're on or off. They look to the sideline.
That's what there needs to be a check. If it's going to be an arbitrary line, like it's a judgment call, whether you're too far up or too far back, there has to be a check off. So hopefully they figure that out, because it's unbearable to have more plays coming to a stop over some nonsensical foul.
Well, it's a very good foul to call, because when you get in the goose formation, as I like to call it, the flying geese, the V, your tackle's so far off, that gives a huge advantage to that offensive tackle trying to reach that outside rusher.
Yeah, but I'm bored. I get bored on a 3.5-hour game. I want to see that quarterback being able to scramble and throw the ball.
I want to see him on his butt.
Plays.
That's what I want to see. And I want to see that defensive end be able to get around the corner. So, Chiefs win again. Oh, we didn't make our predictions on how.
I was thought about that last night going, uh-oh.
Okay, so now they get the Bengals next week, and the Bengals are going through the process that the Chiefs have been able to navigate better than any other team. I'm sorry, but it's right. I mean, Jamar Chase doesn't, one of the best receivers in football. Are you going to pay him? He's under contract. He just decided not to show up. So can Joe Burrow elevate the rest of that team to?
I believe Joe Burrow can, yes.
I
he's the one that scares me the most, and our Cincinnati Bengals fan will tell us that.
I agree. So we'll find out more next weekend. But if the Chiefs get out, win these 2 games, 2-0, that's
a great start.
Yeah, especially when they're missing some key pieces last night. So
they have some speed now. Holy mackerel!
Perine, they got from the Bengals.
Right.
I like him. When he was in that Bengals backfield with they had 2 running backs, and the Chiefs were able to pick him up for nothing. So that was a good addition.
Where is this game next week?
Kansas City.
Oh, just Kansas City.
Yeah, they got 2 home games to start the season.
It still feels odd if it's going to be hot out and the Bengals and Chiefs are playing. We need an Arctic rush to come in and make this feel like what it is, a playoff game.
Well, the Bengals almost came in and beat the Chiefs last year when the Chiefs desperately needed a win, and that was a close ball game, and they did it with a backup quarterback. So, okay, Chiefs 1-0. On to high school football. The Panthers tonight at McPherson. Head coach Aaron Beck says these teams know each other well, though the personnel is going to be a little bit different from McPherson. They've got a senior quarterback who's waited his turn. So Aaron mentioning that yesterday on Sports Day. Man, this Ian Premer, his body's changed just over a year. My goodness. He looks like a Division I recruit, guys.
Shocking, isn't it?
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, they put him in so many different positions on the offense. I mean, and because they have a very flexible, for lack of a better term, position players. I mean, they can play Cooper anywhere. They can play Ian anywhere. And it's going to be interesting to see how they use Mr. Premer. But the one I like is when he's in the secondary, he's like a ball hawk. He gets that 6'7" body going, 6'6" body and the long arms. If they throw a lob pass, he's going to go get it.
It's probably why he's getting a special visit to Nebraska tomorrow, huh?
What a game to go see, too. Whew.
Yeah, Nebraska and Colorado. Okay, so what do you think of my suggestion that...
They didn't seem too thrilled about it.
What, putting Trent Kern in a cage and just letting him just shake the bars and everything before they come running out on the field? It'd just be like letting some kind of beast out on the field, and that would intimidate the other team so much that I think that would be worth 6 or 7 points right there.
I just say the momentum this team built last year, a whole bunch of those kids back, probably a little bit bigger, stronger. Obviously, the other schools graduated a lot of their talent. So you just ride that momentum from last year, and I think you guys talked about it a little bit yesterday, but I've definitely talked about it in some of my stories. Expectations haven't been this high for Great Bend football and probably since the state championship year, and I don't even know back then if expectations were that high going into that season or if it just kind of happened throughout the year. So tonight's the first test. Hopefully they come out and
it's a mature team. I mean, they're an older ball club this year than they were in the past. So you don't because last year they kind of, got that big win and then they ended up going to Buhler and Buhler knocked them off in a game no one was expecting that. So, how will they handle the expectations? I think they'll handle them just fine. We'll see. But McPherson's not some, they're a traditional program that's been very good under Jace Pavlovich or Pav.
We've decided on Coach Pav is what we've decided on.
Pavs, but this is a good program, and this got the Panthers going last year. And I think, okay, we beat McPherson, we're good. So,
minus maybe one team on the schedule this year. Yeah, nobody's going to look and say, oh, Great Bend's coming, let's roll over like dead dogs. McPherson, well-coached, tradition.
Yep.
They all know, they see the rankings, they see that Great Bend's the only team out in the West in 5A. They know about Ian Premer, so it'll be fun to see how teams react to that, but hopefully Great Bend responds better.
Zach Baird talking about they haven't quite kicked the door down, and that is 2 runner-up state finishes. They've got close last year. Take away the snow, I think they have
it's a different ball game.
I think it's a different ball game, but that wasn't the case. And it's kind of interesting. Zach said possibly, we'll get off to a slower start this year. Well, part of that is the schedule. Connor Nickel very high on the Pratt Greenbacks tonight. That'll be a heck of a matchup down at Zerger Field. Brent Holting, the head coach of the Greenbacks, talking about this year's team. It's a class they've watched for a while. They lost some talented players from a year ago. That's a heck of an opener. Pratt at home against Hoisington, 2 of the old stalwarts of the MSAA.
Pratt's one of the wild cards every year. It's like for a couple of years they were the 4A power. Then they had a few really rough seasons, and then they've kind of bounced back. But you have to wait. Like, this is one of the teams you have to wait 3 weeks into the season to be like, okay, it's old Pratt or new Pratt.
Well, Pratt's problem is when they got in the same district as Andale and Cheney. That was that didn't help a lot of things.
And Travis Tice graduated.
Well, that's true also. Yeah, Travis Tice, what a player he was. But I think that the Cardinals got him during that time. It's a good rivalry. We'll look forward to it. That game on 100.7 Eagle Country tonight. And the game on Hits 106.9, Larned opens the season. They'll be in Lynchburg to take on Smoky Valley, a team that really struggled a lot last year. So we'll see what happens. You can see the entire schedule on GreatBendPost.com. And, Hesh, your pregame tonight at 6:30 on B1043, The Point. Some other games to watch tonight. Derby at Hayes. You decided yet, Mike? You're kind of going back and forth?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go to that. The reason I was going to work that one because I got the next 3 Great Bend ones. It was hard to pitch them. Hey, let me cover Great Bend 4 straight times, but Great Bend's at home the next 3 weeks, so I'll get to see plenty of Panthers. So I want to go see the other Panthers. Derby, they manage to reload every year, sometimes with their own kids, sometimes with the new transfer rules. Seems to be working in the Wichita area quite well, but some Division I kids don't always get to see that, so I'd be curious to see how Hayes will stack up against that, but I wouldn't take a whole lot away from tonight's score.
And don't throw. Tony Crow's a pretty good coach.
I think
Hayes
enough that I actually really enjoy the Hayes program. If I'm allowed to say that.
I was going to say, can you say that? Oh my goodness!
But when I go up there half the season, but
he did go to Fort Hayes, yes.
But it is,
and he also coached at Great Bend High School and did a good job here. So
I was talking about course.
Oh, okay.
Doing a 6A preview, I just outlined some of the great powers throughout Kansas history. Salina Central under Marvin Diener, the Hutch teams, Dodge City, Liberal, and Derby's right up there with anybody.
Okay, Ellenwood's at home tonight. They'll take on Syracuse, a team. Of course, Ellenwood, remember last year, won their first 4 games and then got into district play, which is a very challenging district in 1A, and ended with a losing streak. They've got a chance to get out 1-0 tomorrow. Central Plains and Maxville, I'm kind of looking at this game. Maxville had a lot of injuries last year. They've got some talent over there. But I think Central Plains is ready to step forward. I talked to a young man who goes to Central Plains High School, does not play football. I said, Oilers going to slap him around. I don't know. We'll find out from Connor Nichols, see what he thinks. St. John at La Crosse tonight. Stafford's at home against Reno County Homeschool, so we don't know what you have there. Ashland is at Kinsley tonight. Ness City is at home against Victoria. Hodgman County at South Gray. And then the 6-man games tonight. Otis Bison at home against Western Plains. Chase is at Pawnee Heights. Okay, Big 12 tomorrow. K-State, 11 o'clock start down in New Orleans against Tulane at an outdoor stadium. So 11 a.m., that game on ESPN. KU plays tomorrow night at 6. That game is on Fox Sports 1. So no ESPN Plus games. Big game for both ball clubs. K-State, I'm sure, is going to be favored, but Tulane, man, this is a dangerous game for the Wildcats, dangerous game for KU. Illinois looked pretty good last week.
Yeah, and has anybody checked the weather? I saw Al Roker yesterday said expect flooding down in the New Orleans region, so hopefully that was yesterday or today and not Saturday with an outdoor stadium. It's the risk of playing outdoors down there.
Do they have like a levee warning?
I think the stadium walls, you're good as long as you're in the stadium.
In the stadium, you're good.
Okay, all right. There you go. Sounds the past 24 hours or so.
Throwing some quick volleyball. Great Bend went out to Garden City last night, beat Garden City in 2 sets, and a really convincing final set against Liberal, like 25-6, beat them in 2. So unranked early in the season, but off to a 2-0 start. Some nice freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. It's a nice mix.
Yeah, good start. 31 match wins a year ago, and a lot of expectations for that volleyball team as well. And then the cross-country meet yesterday. Hats off to the Great Bend Panther cross-country girls team. They just keep the tradition going, plug and play.
Yeah, you graduated a class that had several girls that ran for multiple years, so you're like, is this a down year? Maybe not. Sienna Smith lead the way, still a junior. Marissa Boone, now a senior, been a 4-year girl, got up there, so that'd be fun to see how they progress.
The question was the kitchen connection, not the kitchen, the Cajun connection there. The food truck wasn't there?
Is he selling cutlery out of there now?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
The connection was there. The trailer was
Oh, okay, all right. So there was no food. Rats.
Ratatouille.
Is that Nutri-Stew? Is that what they call it?
Nutria, yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. Connor Nichols going to check with us next here on Sports Day. Also, Chewy Loera in talk Great Bend Panther soccer here on Sports Day.
Working the land is by nature a dirty job. What fuels me to get it done? The generations of farmers who've worked the soil before me. What fuels my equipment? Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster, a premium diesel fuel with an additive package that's 40% more effective at breaking down engine deposits. The cleanest fuel yet for the dirtiest of jobs. Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster, fueled by innovation, powered to perform.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor.
Central and Western Kansas residents, are you looking for a new vehicle? Marmy Auto Group can make it happen. Marmy Auto Group includes Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, Chevrolet, and GMC. Marmy Auto Group, your Central and Western Kansas dealer, has new and pre-owned vehicles, or we can special order your vehicle today. If your existing vehicle needs serviced, Marmy's award-winning service department can help. Come to Marmy Auto Group on 10th or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Discover affordable education with Barton Online. Whether you're looking to pick up a class or earn your associate degree, we've got you covered for less than half the cost of a university. We are always enrolling with 5 sessions available this fall, including 16, 8, and 4-week sessions. Get started when it fits your schedule. Tackle your gen eds or the first 2 years of college with a low-cost pathway and save time and money with Barton Online. Visit online.bartonccc.edu and enroll today.
What's going on in high school sports? Well, let's ask him. Sports Day is proud to welcome in Sunflower Sports Solutions' Connor Nickel.
Connor Nickel joining us here on Sports Day. It's just like Christmas Day for me, Connor, every year. The start of the high school football season. Yes, indeed. Fall is here, and high school football season is back. That's a thing to celebrate, my friend.
Yes, sir. We are really excited about it. A lot of interesting games. Matt Gilmore and I and K-Preps, you put a number of stories on K-Preps this week. Preseason rankings are up, and I would say that a lot of Barton County area teams are in the crosshairs tonight.
Okay, let's get to one of those in the crosshairs. Great Bend starts their season at McPherson. A lot of high expectations for this Great Bend team going against a McPherson team that, yeah, don't sleep on the Bullpups and head coach Jace Pavlovich.
Yeah, you look back at this game last year, and this was a win that, Great Bend obviously won that I think really was a big, eye-opening win. I think that score was actually closer than the game. McPherson gained a ton of yards, but Great Bend made McPherson's offense a very inefficient offense, which was really, really good. You look at Great Bend's defense. You talk so much about some of those offensive skill players, but Great Bend, I put this in the notes, and there's a reason why they're ranked number 5 preseason 5A, because they had a top 8 5A scoring defense, which Sunflower Sports Solutions, the only website that has scoring offense and scoring defense for every team in Kansas for the last five years. Great Bend's defense, really, really good. And McPherson, obviously, a number of great years. Last year they were offensively slipped from where they had been, and I expect this McPherson team to be probably an average to above average team in 4A West. We've got them ranked 6th in 4A West, which I think most people have that. So I want to see, the big thing tonight is, can Great Bend's defense slow down McPherson's offense? Because if Great Bend's defense can do that tonight, that really sets them up well for this season.
Okay, let's stay in the Western Athletic Conference, where an interesting matchup. Derby comes to town tonight. Varying opinions on what this game's going to be, although I would put, the higher percentage of opinions being that Derby's going to wipe the field with Hayes High. I give more respect to head coach Tony Crow. How do you see this matchup?
Yeah, I completely agree. Hayes High has rarely in the last 4 or 5 years really gotten blown out. Obviously, they've also won a ton of games too. But Hayes High has had the ability to stick closer than I think what people think on paper or win games. You look back over the last 4 years. The loss that stands out to me was when Wichita Northwest, just like Derby, came to Fort Hays 3 or 4 years ago, and Northwest won, but the game was much closer than people anticipated. Then you look at some of the upsets, Mays South, Junction City last year. Some people in Great Bend would call the Week 2 game last year the upset of that too. Hayes High has some immense talent. Gus Corsair is a sophomore, all what the Iowa State offer. Dawson Reuter is going to be really, really good. The questions for Hayes High for me come at quarterback. Who will play, and will they play well enough in a game like this, and at tailback? If you look at certain positions, Derby has a major edge on paper at quarterback and at tailback. I'm not saying Hayes High has bad players. I think their players are fine. Derby just has really, really good ones. And so those positions tonight, and as Hayes High starts this season, Hayes High is loaded at certain positions. Line-wise, I think is very good. The back four on defense, I think, is very solid. Receiver is outstanding. But quarterback and tailback, some questions there.
Okay, does Garden City have anything for Manhattan tonight in Garden?
No, I'm not as high on Manhattan as some others, but defensively, Coach Sharks is always superb on that side. He does an excellent job. They've got the DB that most people consider to be the top DB in Kansas. I just think that Manhattan grinds away a win like 24-7 type of game.
Okay, let's go to the Central Kansas League. Heck of a matchup down at Zerger Field in Pratt tonight. Hoisington against the Pratt Greenbacks. Hoisington's schedule really heavy loaded to the beginning of the year. And Pratt, you've been high on this Greenback team.
Yeah, I really have been too. Coach Holting, I think, has done a superb job of offense. When you look at Pratt's schedule and you look, okay, when you don't play Andale, what happens? And generally, this has been a very explosive team. They're going to run the ball a lot. I look back a couple of years ago when they really took it to Hoisington 10 in week 1. Even last year, 4 and 5, but they still averaged 32 points a game. Max Uni, they're outstanding. Dual threat quarterback's gone, but they've got a lot of backs. The Wilson kid, Schmidt, Windsor. I mean, they're just really deep in the backfield. I am high on Hoisington, of course. Think Coach Baird's awesome. Matt Gilmore with K-Preps is actually even higher. But I with these first 5 games, Hoisington needs to win a couple of these. Some of these on paper are just going to be really challenging games because of their opponent. But this is a big game, I think, for both teams. Pratt, I almost had them on my potential breakout team list. I think they could really, really rise up. But this could be one of those games for both teams that could really set the stage for 2024. I think this is a very even matchup on paper. It's a big question for Hoisington for me. How much can Jason Robinson contribute on offense? Defensively, for sure, outstanding player. How much on offense can he contribute tonight?
Zach Baird's birthday was yesterday. I know what his birthday wish was, to pick up his 100th win tonight. So that would be pretty good. Larned at Smoky Valley. Smoky Valley with a really uncharacteristically poor year last year. What's Smoky Valley look like this season?
Yeah, Tim Lambert, one of the all-time great coaches, more than 200 career wins, and probably, quite honestly, the best coach ever in Kansas to never make a state championship game. He had all those great St. Francis teams during Smith Center's run that would give Smith Center their hardest game of those seasons often, and then Smith Center would pound somebody in the East in the final. He kind of stepped aside last year. Smoky's kind of going through a rebuilding time. Can Larned, interesting thing here, late summer, Jimmy Gardner and his father moved or transfer from Pawnee Heights. Larned, as they say in Pawnee Heights is a top 4 6-man team, no question. So how much can Jimmy Gardner stepping in help Larned, which last year ran the ball on more than 90% of plays. So can Larned grind out a win? And really and honestly, I think Larned is favored by 2 scores tonight.
Okay, let's move to the 8-man circle tonight, and the game in Claflin, Central Plains against Maxville. I think my expectations maybe for Maxville are higher than what other people are, because a lot of Central Plains people are pretty confident they're going to have an easy win tonight.
Yeah, and I like Maxville a lot. I think Coach in his preseason notes wrote 23 players on the team. Only 3 players played all 9 games last year. Maxville's going to throw it around a lot. They run the air raid offense. I think if you were to put the over-under on passing attempts tonight, I would probably go 45 plus. Both teams are going to throw it a lot. I do think CP wins. Again, Kreitz a quarterback. A lot of nice skill guys there. I know Maxville is looking to be much improved this year. I have both teams as over 500 teams this year. So Maxville, of course, a 3-win team. Last year, obviously, CP, a 7-win team. And with CP, I think CP, quite honestly, really has to win this game tonight, because then they get Victoria in League 2. And so that's going to be a really tall test with all of their size. But I think CP wins tonight, but I agree. It's closer than maybe what some people in Claflin think.
Otis Bison plays their first ever 6-man game tonight. And Connor, you like Otis Bison?
I do. I really like them a lot. Mark Cole's the most experienced 6-man coach in Kansas, because he restarted it about a decade ago, comes on over from Ness City, knows how to build program, knows how to use patience, knows how to do all those things. Mark Coles has coached 20 years. He's coached a team in the state semifinals, and he's coached two teams at 2 different schools that did not win a game. So he knows the full gauntlet of stuff. He got Ness City much better, got them to the postseason several years. Great offensive mind. Otis is definitely high on their team this year. They expect to be much improved. And then Chris Somm, who I think is an outstanding assistant coach, the defensive coordinator for Spearville when they won state. So you've got the offensive mind of Cole, and then the defensive mind of Somm, and you've got 2 very charismatic, outgoing personalities. I anticipate Otis to be 500 team this year, which last year they were certainly not. So I think they will definitely step up a lot.
Okay, Connor Nickel with us. We're going to take a quick break and then come and just cover the volleyball here real quick for you on a Friday Sports Day show on KVGB.
Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
Sports, leisure, fitness and wellness, even senior and adaptive needs. It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Pick up a program guide or stop by the rec office at 1214 Stone in Great Bend. Or check out the website, greatbendrec.com. Live, play, explore at the rec.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Live, play, explore at the rec.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Connor Nickel with us on a Friday. Some things that happened this week in high school volleyball and some things you're looking forward to, maybe some tournaments this weekend on the volleyball side of things, Connor.
Yeah, I took in the Hayes High tournament last weekend. A lot of interesting teams there. I got to see Beloit, Lake the West. I'm going to say it right now. I think that Beloit wins 3A. I really do. TMP, we talked about them being much improved this year. They finished third. They split Hayes High, but beat them in their second match fairly handily because of the bracket. They had to play each other twice. So that was really impressive. Got to see Colby play some, who should be a solid 3A team. In basketball, they should be really good. You know, you see Colby sometimes get grouped with Hoisington and some of those teams. So Colby was a smaller team there, but I thought for a 3A team, they should be fine. But Beloit is loaded. Oh, my goodness. I mean, you've got two Division II kids. Addison Budke, I mentioned this to another media station, that she will probably finish second all-time in Kansas history in kills. So, if Beloit gets grouped in with Hoisington come sub-state, that's going to be really, really interesting. Another team that's on the rise a little bit further west is 1A Division II Grainfield. Grainfield is going to be really good this year. They've got a lot of talent. Sometimes they get grouped in with Barton County schools. Most teams at this point have played 2 or 4 matches. It's going to be really interesting to see after Saturday. But the early returns, TMP, very strong. Colby, above average. Beloit, outstanding. Grainfield, really good. And again, the vast majority of those teams will play Barton County area schools this fall.
Ellenwood, high expectations, and so far living up to those so far. They're off to a nice start.
Yeah, I think that this team is going to be really, really outstanding. And very interested, as we say on 2A West, a lot of really pretty much every year, where the sub-states fall will oftentimes determine the postseason storylines in 2A. But yeah, I am really impressed. Coach Maxwell's got a ton of great players. They faced Hillsboro, LR. They got those wins. So off to a really, really positive start.
Real quick, Connor, before we let you go, what's up on Sunflower Sports Solutions.com right
now? We will start the athletes of the week tomorrow. We start always off with cross country to give them some love early. We will have some Hayes High Derby coverage tonight. Everett Royer, Joey Barr, and myself will all be at Hayes High Day tonight. And I am planning on being in Great Bend next Friday night. That is I know Olathe South has a really challenging Week 1 game, but I'm very high on South. But yeah, we're going to see how that goes. But we'll be in Hayes High tonight. It should be a fun start.
Put your feet up sometime this weekend, okay?
Certainly, I will.
Okay. Hey, Connor, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next Friday. Connor Nickel,
sounds good to you, Bill.
Sunflower Sports Solutions, joining us here on Sports Day. Mike Corson going on the prowl with Great Bend Panthers soccer coach Chewy Loera. That's next here on the show.
Dr. Nels here, Animal Medical Center, and today I wanted to visit with you about the power of a multi-doctor practice. And the power of a multi-doctor practice is we can serve many different people, many different personalities. The power of a multi-doctor practice is we have a lot of horsepower here, a lot of people. We can get a lot done. We can say yes, we can get you taken care of. The other cool thing about a multi-doctor practice is we're all different personalities, we're all different makes and models. Dr. Nels here, Animal Medical Center, large or small, we take care of them all.
If you're needing a healthcare plan for your business, let the experienced and dedicated staff at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your business's need. Regardless if you're a large corporation or a small business on Main Street, Freedom Claims Management Incorporated can help you provide your employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. Visit freedomclaimsinc.com where you can schedule a free, no obligation health assessment today. Freedom Claims Management Incorporated in Great Bend.
Discover affordable education with Barton Online. Whether you're looking to pick up a class or earn your associate degree, we've got you covered for less than half the cost of a university. We are always enrolling with 5 sessions available this fall, including 16, 8, and 4-week sessions. Get started when it fits your schedule. Tackle your gen eds or the first 2 years of college with a low-cost pathway and save time and money with Barton Online. Visit online.bartoncccc.edu and enroll today.
Sports Day presents On the Prowl with Mike Horson, an inside look at all the sports taking place at Great Bend High School.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. Mike Corson joined today by Great Bend High School Panther coach Chewy Loera. Coach, we had you in last week. You were getting ready to have some first games of the week. Finally got one in yesterday against Liberal. How'd things turn out?
Yeah, we were excited to finally get that first competition in, and unfortunately, we didn't come up with the win. We didn't have the first half that we had planned for, but the second half we did a really good job of applying or creating some good adjustments at halftime, and the boys did an awesome job of actually following through and executing the changes. But unfortunately, at that time, we were already down 6-0, and we couldn't make the comeback that we wanted. But the way we played the second half is a good way to end the game. So that way we can keep that momentum going forward and set us up well for the second game.
Yeah, and Mike Tyson has the now famous quote: "Everybody has a plan until you get hit in the mouth." What's it like? You always want to be on the Mike Tyson side of that, but 6-0 in the first half. How did your kids respond to maybe some early adversity?
Like again, we started off slow, but the kids, it wasn't a lack of effort. We were just trying to figure out. They had a couple different looks in the midfield that we couldn't adjust quick enough to, and I think that was the biggest issue we had. We just left too many guys loose in the midfield, and so they were able to connect some easy passes to get up the field quicker than we wanted them to, and but they were working through it. And then finally at halftime, once we addressed those things and then made the adjustment, I guess that's one of the disadvantages in soccer. We don't have timeouts, so if something's not going right, it's not like we can call timeout and say, hey, we need to adjust this and then send it back out there. Hopefully you can make that adjustment from the sideline, screen that in, and hopefully they get it. And if not, you have to wait 40 minutes to have that discussion and then go again.
Yeah, and we've seen this throughout the many years in the Western Athletic Conference, especially Dodge City, but also Liberal and Garden City. Just how good was Liberal? Is this not a team you're going to expect to see night in, night out?
They're really good. So they had really good kids, a couple kids that we knew we were going to have to slow down, and I think we did do a good job of slowing them two down. But I think again, it's their midfield players that we didn't account for that kind of got us off guard there. But no, Liberal's great. I think we can do a lot better the next time we see them, especially now that we've seen them once, and we'll be able to know what attacking style they're going to bring. And as far as everybody else in the Western Athletic Conference, it's going to be competitive and exciting, and definitely going to make us work to play our best game every time we see anybody in the conference.
And obviously you're the coach, you got the experience, and you're the adult in the room, but you got a bunch of kids on the field that just got beat 6-0. Do they also come away with that positive outlook with, hey, look what we did in the second half?
Absolutely. So that's kind of what we hung our hat on, was the second half. Look, I mean, these guys scored 6 goals, and once we made the adjustments and understood what we needed to do to be successful, you guys did a good job of adjusting. You guys did a really good job of executing the game plan in the way you guys didn't just lay down and take the defeat. You guys kept pushing through, and we were able to hold them scoreless in the second half after a heavy attack that we had to slow down in the first half. So that was the conversation that we had. And again, I'm proud of them not giving up, not quitting, and putting up just a fantastic second half, and just shows them that, hey, we can't compete with these guys, and as long as we slow them down like we did, plus build an attack of our own, we're going to have an opportunity against this team plus any other one that we see.
Talking to Panther soccer coach Chewy Loera, we were talking about some changes in terms of mercy rules. Obviously, I think basketball, it's 30 points in the second half. They'll run the clock, or maybe the fourth quarter. What was it in soccer, and what did it go to this year?
So it used to be 10 goals. So if you had a 10-goal difference, in the second half, you can score as many as you want in the first half, and then if you score at least one goal in the second half, so let's say in the first half you're already up 10-0, once you score that 11th goal in the second half, the game's over, because then it's, beyond 10 goals. But now it changed to 8 goals, which is probably appropriate. In my opinion, I think if you're down 8 goals, it's not likely that you're going to come back. So it's probably a good thing. There's no reason to make the kids endure 2 more goals if they're already down 8-0. And so, we were down 6-0, and that's the conversation that we had again at halftime. Hey, if these kids score 2 more goals, this game's over. So I think our kids really dug in after that, and again, they did awesome in the second half. But yeah, you definitely don't want to be on the receiving end of an 8-0 loss, and hopefully we can be the ones putting 8 goals on somebody here in the future.
And speaking of the future, what do you guys have coming up?
So next week we'll have our first ever Salina South Cougar Classic, which is a tournament that Salina South is going to host there at Salina Stadium. And so there's going to be 18 tournament. And we're going to see St. Mary's on the 10th. And then on the 12th, it's just bracket play. So it depends on win or lose. It's going to determine the second and third matchups. But so that'll take place on the 10th, 12th, and 14th. So it's a new tournament for us. And, we're excited to see some new teams, new competition, and get a little closer to home, too.
Great Bend soccer coach Chewy Loera. Well, hoping to have a positive result after this first week, but we know how the WAC can be sometimes. So good luck to you guys in Salina next week.
Yeah, no, don't count us out. These boys are going to bounce back, and we're gonna make these things exciting again.
Excellent. We will chat with you next week about it.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, Chewy.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
More Sports Day after this.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Wrapping up Sports Day on a Friday. Steve Webster with you in the Mayo Money Management Studios. High school football tonight, our broadcast games. Great Bend at McPherson. 6:30 for the call. Mike Hesher and Sean Bear on the microphones for you tonight, 6:30 there. Hoisington at Pratt tonight, Cole Reif with a call from Zerger Field, along with Gene Manweiler, 6:30 pregame there. And in Lindsborg tonight on Hits 106.9, it will be Smoky Valley and Larned. Other games tonight in the Western Athletic Conference, Derby at Hayes. Very interested in that outcome. Woodward, Oklahoma, Dodge City tonight. Manhattan travels to Garden City. Liberal is at Wichita North. In the Central Kansas League, Heston is at Halstead tonight. Haven at Hillsboro. Nickerson at Conway Springs. Ellenwood opens their season tonight at home against Syracuse. Good matchup in Russell tonight where the Broncos host the TMP Monarchs. Lions is at Beloit tonight. Lions, a new member of the NCAA, no longer members of the Central Kansas League. Ellsworth at Sacred Heart. Sterling is at Sedgwick tonight. Maxville at Central Plains. St. John at La Crosse. Reno County Homeschool at Stafford. Ashland plays at Kinsley tonight. Victoria's at Ness City. Hodgman County at South Gray. Norwich travels to Pratt to take on Skyline. You have Kiowa County at Mineola. Sylvan United at Thunder Ridge tonight, and Little River plays at Chase County. Area 6-man games. Western Plains at Otis Bison tonight, and Chase is at Pawnee Heights. Big 12 tomorrow. K-State plays at 11 a.m. That game on ESPN as they take on the Green Wave of Tulane. And we'll just take down the other Big 12 matchups in the order of the times that they will be played. Pittsburgh is at Cincinnati on ESPN2. Arkansas at Oklahoma State. Interesting battle there. Arkansas unranked, Oklahoma State 16 or 17, whichever poll you're looking at. That is at 11 a.m. on ABC. Baylor at number 11 Utah. That's at 2:30 on Fox. Iowa State at Iowa. CBS game at 2:30. Then the evening contest highlighted by KU at Illinois. We'll have the broadcast for you starting at 5:30 on Hits 106.9. And KU at Illinois, you can see it on Fox Sports 1. Albany at West Virginia at 6. At 6:30, it's Sam Houston at UCF tonight. Or tomorrow, Colorado at Nebraska. NBC, Nebraska trying for a 2-0 start. And that will be 6:30 Central Time. Houston at Oklahoma, 6:45. LIU at TCU at 7 p.m. That's on ESPN+. Texas Tech at Washington State, game on Fox. That starts at 9. Northern Arizona at number 20. Arizona at number 20, Arizona. That's at 9. And then at 9:30, Mississippi State at Arizona State. More reaction to last night's Chiefs victory over the Baltimore Ravens, 27-20. Ryan Clark, who had to take on Derrick Henry on how the Ravens seen that, they're a little bit having an identity crisis right now is what he called it. But he also, on the radio this morning, say the Ravens took a step back last night. This is what he thought.
Well, what we saw last night was the Baltimore Ravens revert back to go ahead and do it Lamar, right? He had to turn into skip to my Lou and hot sauce from and one. Right? We were at the Rucker Park. They would legitimately snap the ball. He'd wait, allow everything to happen in front of him, and then he'd go be the best player on the field. We were supposed to be moving out of that era of Lamar Jackson's career. We were supposed to be moving into an era where he could play on time, where the completion we saw to Zay Flowers over the middle on the first drive would happen on a consistent basis. Yeah. Where the completion to Isaiah Likely on the sail route would happen on a consistent basis, to where we could see them walk up to the line of scrimmage. We would go, oh, hell, I don't know what the Baltimore Ravens are going to do. I'm sitting in my room last night, and I'm saying, this is a run. Yep. This is a pass. Yep. I'm saying quarterback run. And you think if I can do it, you think that Steve Spagnuolo can't do it? Trent McDuffie?
Ryan Clark this morning on First Take. Also, Stephen A. Smith saying that Lamar isn't a good enough passer to beat Patrick Mahomes.
Zay Flowers is in the end zone, and you threw it 5 yards behind him, for crying out loud. And if we want to really get down to it, RC, you know this obviously better than me because you're one of the people that teach me football. In the end, what it comes down to is this, bro. Lamar Jackson ain't as refined as a passer as we need him to be when you going up against Patrick Mahomes, who he is now 1-5 against. 1-5.
Certainly the Ravens had their chance. As Dan Orlovsky said this morning, Baltimore failed to capitalize.
I still think Baltimore's going to be a good football team. I do think they will be a lesser team than last year. But for every time we sit there and say, well, if his foot was an inch smaller, well, if Isaiah Likely doesn't catch that ball and make a 70-yard kind of broken play touchdown, they got skunked for most of the game outside of that opening drive. So I'm not sitting here saying that they're going to win 5 games. What I'm sitting here saying is last night was a big game to me. For you, Baltimore, to say this is a little bit different. We know exactly how to beat this football team. We're going to go do it. And it didn't happen.
Of course, what do you do with Derrick Henry? They've got a new toy. But as Ryan Clark said, really, when he wasn't on the field, that's when Lamar Jackson was at his best. Dan Graziano, NFL insider on ESPN, talking about the Ravens' use of Derrick Henry last night.
Baltimore has not been a team that's operated from under center, and so they have to learn that. And so I don't know that they're fully comfortable with it. I think they view Henry as a guy that can help them put away games when they have the lead, and obviously they didn't have the lead last night other than right away, after the first drive. But, I think it's going to take some time for them to get used to what they need to do with Derrick Henry. I think we all assumed they would just plug him in. That'd be great. But first of all, they're not a team that's ever had a problem running the ball, right? Like, you didn't necessarily need to upgrade at running back because you run the ball like crazy anyway. And second of all, like, he's just operating in a little bit different system behind a little bit of a kind of a different offensive line than they have there in Baltimore. And I think it's going to take a little while for it to get going.
I agree completely. How do you use him? Well, I'm sure that John Harbaugh has been in the league for 17 years. He's an understudy of Andy Reid. I think they'll figure it out. But is Derrick Henry going to be pleased with that new role? Probably it's going to be a little bit diminished from what it was in Tennessee for sure. We'll watch going forward. And finally, Chris Canty, host of Unsportsmanlike on ESPN, saying if the Ravens want to get to the Super Bowl, someone else is going to have to beat the Chiefs for that to happen.
I hear what Isaiah Likely talking about, but guess who else is going to get better throughout the season? The Kansas City Chiefs, because they never play at their best in week one. They always find a way to improve under Andy Reid. So I'm looking at this game last night, and in my mind, I'm sitting there thinking, if the Ravens are going to get to the Super Bowl, somebody else in the AFC is going to have to take out the trash for them. Somebody else is going to have to do their dirty work. Somebody else is going to have to beat the Kansas City Chiefs because they can't do it.
They can't slay the dragon.
They can't do it. And it's not that they don't have the talent to do it. Mm-hmm. It's just they do things that are uncharacteristic that make you easy to beat. Like not running the football with Derrick Henry.
Yeah, again, trying to figure out how you use your new toys. So we'll see how it goes moving forward. That's going to be our Friday show today. Yeah, it's Christmas Day. High school football season starting tonight. Enjoy your game wherever you're going or wherever game you're watching on the NFHS network. We'll have 3 on the radio for you tonight. Great Bend and McPherson, 6:30 on B104.3 The Point. Hoisington at Pratt on 100.7 Eagle Country. And Larned at Smoky Valley on Hits 106.9. Also tonight, don't forget Royals baseball right here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Oh, yeah, the Royals are in a pennant race. How about that? That's cool. We'll have Royals and Twins, game 1 of a 3-game weekend series, 6:30 tonight right here on KVGB. Need to do some work. They go on the road, starting with a road trip in New York against the Yankees on Monday. We'll talk about it all on the Monday Sports Day show right here on KVGB.
This is Ryan.